Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Jayefo R-1 boxing gloves. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so today I'm doing a close-up weigh-in and review on the Jayefo R-1 boxing gloves. I got mine in the red, white, and blue colorway. 16 ounces, it's a Velcro closure only glove. I believe these are made in China. There's no tag on the inside that indicates where they're manufactured, but my best guess is China. It utilizes a synthetic outside casing. And my best description of these gloves are they're kind of like a cheaper version of the ringside Apex gloves, and not so good version of them, if you want to call it that. It says that it uses a triple layer gel padding, is what they describe it as, but they definitely just feel like injected molded foam, which a lot of budget gloves just use just because it's so much more cheaper and inexpensive for them to use molded foam. The outside casing kind of has like this interesting carbon fiber looking design, very reminiscent of like what Ringside does with their Apex gloves. It says R1 Ultimate Warrior on the thumb. It says Jayefo with some kind of like, I don't know if that's like paint splatter or kind of like blood looking. I don't know what that is, but whatever. They have that design on the back of the glove. The density of the foam on here is definitely on the firm side, just like any kind of molded foam glove. So good for protection, not so much for feedback, in my opinion. It says Jayefo, their logo on the cloth patch on the back of the Velcro strap. The back of the wrist has, I'd say, about a ½ inch of medium density foam padding. The same thing with the padding on the inside wrist, I'd say about a ½ inch, but the padding is different. So this one, you can definitely tell is a denser foam. The padding they use on the inside wrist feels almost like bundled up like gauze or like cloth. The liner is a polyester nylon liner, which is not my favorite, especially in the finger compartment of this glove. It really wrinkles up. And then the Velcro strap itself, you can see it tapers. So it's kind of like what you see with a lot of gloves like Rival, where they have that tapered Velcro strap, which basically gives you a little bit more support higher up on your wrist rather than it just coming straight across. So it's 16 ounces there. Boxing is life. You still have that soft padding that kind of comes up into the palm area. And then you also have a mesh palm. Keep Velcro away from that or rip it up. I'm not a big fan of mesh palms. A kind of smallish grip bar and also a nylon attached thumb that keeps the thumb sucked in there. So there you have it. That's the glove overall. Put them next to each other and give you guys an idea of how they look. And the white piping, the stitching. So there you have it. Let's go ahead and put these on the scale. See how much these weigh. So the right glove is right at 15, so it's about an ounce underweight. And the left glove is right at 14.9, 15. So they're exactly on weight with each other, which is great to see. They're 1 ounce underweight. Let's go ahead and do the review. Hey, what's up guys, Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review on the Jayefo R1 boxing gloves. I got mine in this red, white, and blue colorway. 16 ounces, it's a Velcro closure only glove. Sizing wise, you can get this anywhere between 8 to 16 ounces. And color wise, they actually have several colorways. They have like this red, white, and blue. They have a black and gold, a red and white. If you go to their website, you can check out all the colors they offer. And this is definitely an entry level glove. It utilizes a synthetic outside casing, as well as injected molded foam padding on here, which is, to me, is kind of like the padding that they use, the foam padding they use in a lot of entry gloves, just because it's more affordable and like widely more accessible and just easier to put together when you manufacture the gloves rather than using like a multi-layer foam with different densities. So this is definitely a injected molded foam, glove. And like I mentioned earlier, I think this is a kind of like the Ringside Apex glove, just not as good in my opinion. Now, obviously the price of this glove is going to reflect the quality, but I'll kind of break down on even at that point if I think this glove is worth it or not. So first things first, the glove I'd say has a medium profile. It's not overly huge. and it's not like a super slim glove. It does have a little bit of a shorter cuff, so it's not a super long cuff glove. You can see it has this synthetic casing. The blue almost has like this carbon fiber looking design built into it. It says Jayefo written vertically on the glove with this kind of blood splatter design. You also have this Velcro strap that says Jayefo on the back of the strap that's in a cloth patch. The Velcro strap itself obviously is synthetic as well, and it actually tapers up to kind of give you a little bit more support higher up on this wrist section right there. And the inside liner is made of this polyester nylon liner, which kind of bunches up, especially in the hand compartment. You have about a 1/2 inch of medium density padding on the back of the wrist, and kind of like a cloth, like cotton gauze type material that's stuffed into the inside of the wrist, which I'm not really a big fan of, just because it feels super soft and very, very cheap. And the big thing you'll see here is how much the glove is flopping around. So that's kind of the issue with that. But that same material kind of comes up here in the palm section. It says Boxing is Life. White piping right there. You also have the mesh palm. I know a lot of you guys aren't a big fan of that. It's supposed to be for ventilation, but this ends up getting really worn out quick, and it will start to rip and tear, especially if it gets snagged onto like Velcro. Grip bar is a little bit on the smaller side. It is firm, but just a little bit small. No ventilated holes on the thumb or in the finger compartment, and a nylon attached thumb right there. It does say R-1 Ultimate Warrior, because I guess you're supposed to be an Ultimate Warrior when you wear these gloves. So with that being said, quality of the gloves are okay. Again, it's hard to, you're not gonna obviously compare this to a really high-end glove out there, just because it's in a completely different weight class, if you wanna call it that, in terms of just the construction. So I believe these gloves are probably made in China. There's no tags on either gloves to indicate where they're manufactured, but just based on the way they look and some other gloves I've had from China before, that's probably where they're made. Obviously, you know, it's a budget glove, so you have like the nylon strap there. You know, the stitching doesn't look bad, but the material itself just feels cheap. Like the material they use on the outside, this is the type of stuff that you find like in the cheap Everlast gloves. And what happens is over time, if I were to continue to use these in my rotation, is my sweat will start to eat away at this, especially if you live like in a hot environment like here in Phoenix. It gets really hot. So the heat, the sweat, the salt, all that will break down this material really fast. And overall, just a cheaply made glove. Another thing is just how little wrist support you have. I mean, you can see just how floppy that is, and they don't put any emphasis on this area right here on giving you the support you need. Considering that it's 1 ounce underweight, you would think that they would implement a stiffer foam padding along the wrist section just to give it a little bit more stability. It'll add weight to it to be at the correct weight, and the wrist won't be so floppy and unbalanced. So everything on this glove is super top heavy. And then obviously the liner, which you guys can't see, kind of bunches up on the inside of the hand compartment. Comfort-wise, sliding your hand in here, the first thing you notice is how stiff the gloves are. By stiff, I mean just the hand compartment because of the molded foam. I can't open my hand up more than that. That's pretty much it. I mean, I would have to use my other hand to kind of push up on it. The thumb feels good. The piping is not too tight. The thumb positioning is really good. The foam padding feels good on the back of the thumb, so I have some good flexibility there. The grip bar is in a good position. The Velcro strap feels decent. I mean, it's not the most supportive, but it feels okay. Grip bar is in the perfect position. The finger compartment is actually nice and deep, so I do like that. You can feel the stitching on the fingertip, and you can make a decent fist with this. The only issue is just how stiff it is. It doesn't feel like it's too wide or too narrow, but I did find that my fingers would continually rub on the stitching right here, which was kind of irritating when I was using this for training. So just kind of a stiff feeling glove, and the wrist support on here isn't the best. Protection and performance, this glove to me is more of a protective glove. Any molded foam glove I've ever experienced feels like it's much more protective just because of how stiff the foam padding is over the knuckle. So it's definitely more of a dull sensation when you're landing punches with this glove. You know, you don't get the same visceral feedback you would with a glove that uses like a multi-layer foam, different densities, or even horsehair, to where it just compresses differently, and you don't get that with this. It's just one piece of foam, the same thickness, the same density, and that's all it is. So it's definitely, you know, if you're using this for the heavy bag, if you're using like a a really stiff, heavy bag and you're landing some powerful shots, it does a really good job of absorbing the shock, but don't expect to really feel like your knuckles sink in to give you that satisfying pop and sensation that you get with some of the higher end gloves. Cost-wise, these gloves are inexpensive. They're only $17. So if you're on a budget and you're looking for maybe some bag gloves, you can use these. You could use these for sparring. They're kind of stiff, so I would break them in. These are a decent alternative, but I would cough up a little bit more money and go with like a pair of the Venom contenders or the Challengers, which are a little bit more expensive, but just an overall better glove, will last you longer. And the main thing is you'll enjoy your training more. So I think a lot of times if you try to cheap out when you get a pair of gloves, yes, it may be more inexpensive. Maybe you don't have a choice. Maybe that's all you have the budget for, which is fine. But if you can spend $10 to $20 more and get a better glove, then you're going to feel more motivated to train because you're actually going to enjoy putting the gloves on. Where if you get a pair of gloves you're not really happy with, you're going to put them on, you're just not going to, you may be self-motivated, but maybe you're not, but some people will just be like, these gloves suck, and then they just don't want to train, or they buy another pair of gloves, so they just end up wasting $17. So they're decent. If you can only budget for gloves like these, they would be good for bag work, hitting the mitts, okay for sparring if you have to, but I would definitely fork out a little bit more money and get something a little bit better than these, in my opinion. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these Jayefo R-1 boxing gloves. I'll see you guys later. Take care.